John here with Fin Flam Unfiltered. Today I want to talk about something that actually moved me. William Shatner, aka Captain Kirk, the man we've watched for generations, and his daughter, Melanie, both beat stage 4 cancer. Not one of them, both of them. Weirdly enough, they both had it around the same time, and they both beat it around the same time. And the way he showed up for her while fighting his own battle is one of the strongest examples of fatherhood I've heard in a long time. I also want to talk about why Shatner's role as Denny Crane on Boston Legal is the single biggest reason I ever wanted to be a lawyer. It was the only thing I ever really wanted to be. And I'm not alone. For years, when they surveyed law school graduates about what inspired them to go into law, two shows kept coming up at the top of the list. It was Perry Mason and Boston Legal. So let's start with a cancer story. In 2022, Melanie Shatner Gretsch was 60 years old when she found a lump in her breast. It was stage 4 breast cancer. Stage 4 means the cancer has already spread. The diagnosis turns your whole world upside down overnight. About a year later, in 2023 of June, William Shatner himself was diagnosed with stage 4 malignant melanoma. It had already spread to his lungs and his brain. He was 92 years old at the time. Most people at that age with cancer in the brain and lungs are not given long odds. Both of them went through the full fight: chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, and immunotherapy. The treatments that leave you exhausted, sick, and wondering if your body can take any more. By a miracle, both of them made it. By late 2024, they were declared cancer free. Shatner is now 95, and he says he's healthier in many ways than he's been in years. Melanie is on the other side of it too. What stands out to me is how they leaned on each other. Melanie has talked about moments during chemo when she was completely overwhelmed and hysterical. Her father was right there, not as a famous actor, just as dad. A man in his 90s fighting cancer that had reached his own brain, still finding the strength to be steady for his daughter. That's rare. There's a spirit in the way Shatner talked about the whole ordeal. The sense of, I've got this, give me the bill, I'm here. Whether it was his emotional weight, his practical support, or just refusing to let her face it alone, he carried what needed to be carried. That's what real presence looks like when the stakes are life and death. They've even started a podcast together about living with the knowledge that time is limited and choosing to make the worst of whatever is left. Now, let me get personal. Since I was 3 years old, I wanted to be a lawyer as long as I can remember. And one of the biggest reasons, besides some friends who were lawyers of mine, was William Shatner's performance as Denny Crane on Boston Legal. That poured gasoline on that poured gasoline on the fire. Denny Crane was larger than life. He was brilliant, arrogant, loyal, theatrical, and completely unapologetic. He would walk into a room, say his own name like it was a declaration, and the entire energy shifted. He was a rainmaker, a courtroom warrior, a man who could be ridiculous one moment and devastatingly sharp the next, all while losing his mind. There was something about the way Shatner played him that made the law look like the most exciting, high stakes, meaningful profession in the world. Something I fell in love with at a young age. You could be smart, you could be bold, you could fight for people, and you could still be completely yourself. For a lot of us who watched that show, Danny Crane wasn't just a character, he was a fantasy of what a great lawyer could be. And this wasn't just my experience. For years, surveys of law students and young lawyers kept ranking two shows at the top of the list of what inspired them to pursue the profession. It was Perry Mason and Boston Legal. Perry Mason was the classic upright defender of the innocent. Danny Crane was the modern, complicated, charismatic version. Together, those two characters probably recruited more lawyers than any law school for sure ever did, and that includes. I want to add James Spader in that role as Alan Shore. He had just as much of an impact as William Shatner did playing Danny Crane. Those two guys playing those two roles, written by and directed by David E. Kelly and Bill D'Elia. That is, in my opinion, the greatest show of all time. My mother and I were huge fans of The Practice, and I remember watching it on the edge of her bed when it first came on, and I was just like, "Wow, that's amazing." The writing, the acting, everything clicked in that show. That's why they won so many Emmys. I can still remember watching the episodes and thinking, "That's it. That's what I want to do." It was the only thing I really wanted to be. Shatner made that character so vivid that people still quote him. Still do the voice. Still talk about how the show made them feel, how the show made the law feel alive. Sadly, on a personal level, I took the LSAT and I got a decent score, and I applied to 30 different law schools, and I didn't get accepted once, and it broke my heart. In the back of my mind, it's still what I wanted to be, still what I wanted to do, but I knew that life had to go on, and I've had many different jobs since graduating college, and I got my degree in criminology. But for now, being almost 40, still on the back burner. It's not over yet. But I want to say thank you to James Spader playing Alan Shore, William Shatner playing Denny Crane, and Bill D'Elia and David E. Kelly for bringing such characters to the screen, to the small screen, that truly inspired people, especially in the modern age. And I'm sure there are other TV law shows that have had the same impact. And here's what gets me about William Shatner. As an actor, he created one of the most magnetic lawyer characters on television. A man who was bold, loyal, and bigger than whatever room he walked into. In real life, when his own daughter was fighting for her life, and he was fighting for his, he showed up with the same kind of larger than life loyalty and presence. He didn't shrink, he didn't disappear into his own fear. He was there. That consistency between the character and the man is rare. Most of us will never play Denny Crane, but all of us will face moments when someone we love is in real trouble. The question is whether we show up the way Shatner did for Melanie. William Shatner is 95 years old. He has lived one of the most public lives in entertainment history. He has been Captain Kirk, TJ Hooker, Denny Crane, and late in life, he and his daughter both walked through stage 4 cancer and came out on the other side together. For Shatner, that's a hell of a second act, if not the final act for him. For those of us who ever watched Boston Legal and thought, I want to do that, this story is a reminder that the same man who made law look exciting also showed what real strength looks like when the cameras are off. Many people in life look up and idolize sports icons Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, LeBron James, Joe Montana, Tom Brady. Denny Crane, apart from any other lawyer on TV in TV history, had one thing that was different about him, and that he was undefeated. He never lost a first chair trial, ever. Many of us chase perfection, and in my mind, I wanted to be perfect. I didn't get that chance. But as a Christian, as a Catholic, I know there's no such thing as a man being perfect. So when you chase that in a profession, it's everything. I'm not perfect in what I do now, but I try to be the best that I can on a daily basis for me and the people I work with and the people I work for. I still want to be a lawyer. That desire started with Denny Crane, and hearing how Shatner carried his daughter through the darkest times only deepens respect. That's the episode. If this story hit you the same way it hit me, drop a comment. And if you or someone you love has been through cancer, like me, I also had brain cancer, a tumor, and a cyst. I'm a walking miracle because God allows me to be here. The odds were against me 3 different times, and I am eternally grateful of the multiple chances God has given me. I hope it gives you a little bit more hope. Head to finflam.com for more. Thanks for listening. Stay sharp. God bless.